You wondering how best to set up Google Consent Mode V2, or even wondering what is Google Consent Mode V2? Well, we got you covered. This is something we've had come up a lot recently with various clients, whether they're getting emails from Google Ads, ensuring that they're getting it set up, or looking through their Google Analytics, seeing notifications, or something we pick up when we audit their accounts. Google Consent Mode V2 goes pretty hand in hand with GDPR. So I'm going to run through what it is, how we recommend setting it up, and ensuring that you're best placed to take advantage of what should be an uplift in conversions in your reporting. So you can see here an example of one of the emails that you'd get. This one was one sent to ourselves, 13th of June, making sure that we have got Google Consent Mode set up. In terms of Google Analytics, you'll see it under the web stream details for whichever account you're in. You'll see there's a little dialog you can open up for consent settings. And in the case of this client, you can see ads measurement consent signals are not detected, ads personalization not detected. So this is something we're going to look to get set up for them. You'll also see this in the diagnostics of your Google Ads account. If you jump in here, we can see for this particular client that there is offline conversion data flowing, but we do not get another dialog box to explain that the consent settings are active, whereas we switch across to this client, which we've already got it set up for, you can see consent mode is active. So how do we get this up and running? So let's start by looking at what Google documentation says for consent mode V2. You can see here there's a nice glossy page that covers off what it is and basically the main uplift that it's going to improve your performance. But if you actually dive into the details of their documentation, you will see that if you do not get it set up, you will not be able to keep using ad personalization, remarketing features, and other areas of your Google Ads account. There is also the benefit of an uplift in numbers. This isn't something we've tested as a before and after, so can't confirm or deny whether you will see a measurable uplift in your conversions. But with Google pushing everyone towards this route and then enhanced conversions, which is a separate conversation, this is something worth making sure you've got configured on your account. Google Tag Manager does have quite detailed documentation on how to get this up and running. However, for us, for our clients, we find the easiest solution is to use a tool called iubenda. Maybe pronouncing that wrong. If I am, please correct me in the comments. So iubenda is a cookie and privacy solution that we've been using for a number of clients for a number of years, ever since GDPR came out. The reason we like using iubenda for our clients is because when you first create your account, the first step is to list all the trackers you're running on your web platform. For example, Google Ads, Google Analytics, Microsoft Clarity, Hotjar, Metapixel, and so on. It will then help create a cookie banner, a cookie notice, and a privacy policy. Now, some of our clients still want to use their own privacy policy or own cookie notice or cookie policy. However, the cookie banner element is what we're really interested in using. So you can see here for ourselves, this is how we've got it configured. And with GDPR, you can configure it exactly how you want for various countries. Same for the LGPD for Brazil, the Swiss regulations, or US state laws. Now, the one thing I would say with this is when you go to customize it, there are a few interesting points to note. For example, you'll see we have gone for a manual configuration option, and according to this warning that we may be in breach of guidelines, and it specifies the UK here. So if I click to look into the documentation with the UK, the main reason it's giving that for us is to do with the explicit accept and reject buttons. You'll notice that we have got an accept or a learn more and customize. If we went to the automated configuration route, you'll see you get a reject tool, accept tool, same colors, same prominence, with the granular control for the different tracking beacons. Now, we don't particularly like this. At the end of the day, you do want to capture as much information as possible, but you do also need to stay legally compliant. We are not going to be giving legal advice out. However, on iubenda's own documentation, you'll see here for the point about explicit accept and reject buttons. If you hover over it here, it says it must be noted the ICO does not explicitly require reject all buttons, which is why if I go back to the manual configuration, we take off the explicit reject button and we also get rid of the granular control here. So that's how we set up the iubenda cookie banner. Now what we do once we've done that is you'll see you get a bit of embed code here. Now that is what we want to use for Google Tag Manager. Jumping across to Google Tag Manager, we've got various bits set up in our container. The first one is to get your consent mode set up. Now, iubenda actually have a tag you can import from the library, and you can see here it's already set up, and what we've done is pasted in this bit of information with one little bit added in, which is this emit GTM events equals true. Now, that is something that they say in their documentation you should put in for the next step, which I'm going to come to, and we load this on a trigger which is consent initialization all pages. Once that's done, we can then create a trigger, which you can see we've already created, iubenda GTM consent event. And then when we move to other tags we're going to fire, we're going to block them from firing until the iubenda consent has been accepted. And depending if people go into customize will depend then on which tags can fire. So for example, if we go to Microsoft Clarity down the bottom, you can see that will fire on this tag, but it needs one additional consent to be configured, which is the analytic storage. So if someone hits accept all, that's fine, that will fire. If someone goes into customize and does not allow analytic storage, Microsoft Clarity won't fire. Now, of course, this does mean we become, hopefully, he says, like I say, we're not here to give legal advice, compliant with everything, but what it also does is it does actually improve your website page load. The reason being is that these additional trackers, which will load JavaScript on your page, are not going to fire until that initial accept. So when Google crawl your website or when a user visits your website for the first time, yes, you'll have a bit of script loading for the iubenda policy. However, all these other trackers won't fire immediately, not until accept has been confirmed. So that's how that works. Now, with regards to Google Analytics, if you configure it up with iubenda and with Google Tag Manager, again, this is going off iubenda's documentation, and we have actually tested this and it does work as they say it will. The Google Analytics configuration tag, you just simply fire on all pages. You don't have to wait for consent to be accepted. The reason being is the tag will actually change its behavior from someone initially loading the page to someone actually clicking accept all, and we have tested that and it does work in that way. So that's how you get it all set up. As a result, once you've done that, you will then find that those consent setting sections of Google Analytics will go green. In Google Ads, as we said, you will see consent mode is active. And actually, if you go to the conversion goals in Google Ads, go view all conversion actions and pick one. So what I'm looking at here is one of our clients' conversion actions, hover over tracking status, and we can see here consent mode is active. You can even jump in and view the diagnostics for that particular conversion action. So I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, queries, do let us know. If you want help getting this set up and configured, please get in touch. Like I said, we're doing this for a number of new clients we're onboarding at the moment, helping ensure that their analytics, their Google Tag Manager setup is structured in the best way. Obviously, like I say, from a GDPR compliance perspective, this is the sort of thing you should have set up, something akin to this. However, it does obviously need to be tweaked in order to tick the box for Google Consent Mode V2.